After the women's ice hockey team skated to a scoreless tie Friday night against Colgate, they rebounded with a 3-1 win against Cornell in Hamden. I'm Matt Corso alongside Andrew Weiss. Andrew, what do you feel the difference was in play from Friday night to Saturday?
Well, on Friday night, it was a really difficult game for either side to get a goal, especially for the Bobcats. They had a lot of opportunities. They outshot Colgate 44-22, which is just an absurd ratio. Scoreless tie is just not what they wanted, but they did get a lot of good chances. The one thing they were missing was the hops. They weren't getting the good breaks, the lucky bounces, and that's something you need if you want to win a game. Tonight, that's something that really factored into the game. The second goal from Megan Turner for Quinnipiac, shot it into the crease, went off a Cornell defender and into the net. Sometimes those things happen, and that's just something that they were missing Friday night.
After having 44 shots on goal Friday night without scoring, do you think that took a hit to their confidence, especially TT Cianfrano and Melissa Skamiskevich as they were riding 7-game point streaks?
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't think the players necessarily look at those point streaks and they think, okay, I got to keep it going. I'm sure it's something to have pride in. I'm sure that's something that they enjoy. And getting shut out is never a good feeling. Usually it means a loss. In this case, it was a tie because they did play well defensively. But they bounced back tonight, and that's something that shows that they do not have a lack of confidence in their ability to score. Cianfrano picked up a goal. Skamiskevich didn't score, but she played extremely well tonight. Her hockey IQ is off the charts. I'm sure this team loves having her. And overall, they have way too many goal scorers to be content with getting shut out. And so they definitely bounced back in a good way, and they definitely came back and scored tonight and looked dominant doing so.
Who do you feel were the key players for this weekend?
As you mentioned, Cianfrano, she picked up her 8th goal of the year tonight. She's only played in 9 games this season. It's a remarkable goals per game pace, and that's something that puts her in the top 10 in the nation. And then another great player this week that I thought I had my eye on, I was really looking out for, was Sydney Rossman. And she was a player that a few of us had questions about going into this weekend. Would she hold up in ECAC play? 4 goals on 9 shots last week in the loss to Yale. Just not something that's sustainable if you want to win games, if you want to be a ranked team in this country. And that is something that she bounced back to this weekend, holding Colgate last night to Friday night to 0 goals. And then tonight, Saturday, against Cornell, only 1 goal allowed, 1 goal over 2 games in which she stopped over 40 shots. That's not an easy thing to do, and her defense let her down a few times every now and then, but she definitely stood on her head, and just something that...
Right now, Andrew, on the flip side, who do you feel needs to step up for the Bobcats?
Well, I mentioned the defense. A lot of defensive lapses this weekend. They did hold Colgate last night to only 22 shots on goal, which is something to have pride in. Colgate's no pushover. That said, defensive lapses happen, but you can't let that hurt you. And that almost hurt them tonight. Luckily, Sydney Rossman's there, big saves in both games, but defensive lapses can't just happen. And in this weekend, when they go 1-0-1 in close games, 3-1, 0-0, you make any mistake, it gives the other team a chance to score, and they capitalize. There goes your game.
Right, and how big of a factor do you think it is that they have so many goal scorers on this team?
Well, as we mentioned, with the defensive lapses, if that happens and you give up a goal, you need to be able to get that one back, get another goal back. And having those goal scorers on the team, having people who can score multiple goals in a game, players like Cianfrano, Skamiskevich, Emma Woods on that line as well. And, of course, Nicole Costa, she has over 100 points in her career, very established player here in Hamden. Has to give the Bobcats some form of confidence that they can go out there and score goals. Yes, they were held scoreless Friday night, but they have to have that confidence that they can score goals consistently based on the fact that they have these players who are able to do so.
How important do you think it is going forward that they can have 3 goals in one game and have a goal scored by 3 different players?
Well, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. We have teams in this league, in the ECAC and in the nation, that rely too heavily on one player. And this is a team that not only has a great line in Skamiskevich, Woods, and Cianfrano combined for about half their goals, but they also have players like Nicole Costa, like Megan Turner, who gets dirty goals, works hard, gets in the crease, deflects pucks, screens the goalie. Players like that are undervalued, like Megan Turner, undervalued. And having just this vast farm of players that can do that and go out and score goals, it's just something that's absolutely important for this team going forward, to be able to rely on all these players, especially if one player has an off night, then you have a whole crop of another players to go after.
Don't forget to check out our website at www.q30television.com and to follow us on Twitter at Q30Sports. For Andrew Weiss, I'm Matt Corso. We'll see you next time.